Botched star Jordan James Parke is dead at just 34 years old, and the shocking and still developing circumstances surrounding his sudden passing are sending waves through the world of reality television, social media influencers, and the global cosmetic surgery industry. On February 18, 2026, emergency services were called to a luxury residential building in Canary Wharf, London, after reports that a man had been found unresponsive inside one of the apartments. Paramedics rushed to the scene, but despite their efforts, Jordan James Parke was pronounced dead at the scene. Authorities have confirmed that his death is currently being treated as unexplained, pending further medical examination. A post-mortem has been ordered, and investigators are working to determine whether a cosmetic procedure may have been taking place at the time of his collapse. Two individuals, a 43-year-old man and a 52-year-old woman, were arrested on suspicion of manslaughter in connection with the incident. They were later released on bail while investigations continue. Police have not yet released specific details about the nature of the suspected procedure or the precise medical cause of death, but early reports suggesting a possible link to cosmetic enhancement have already ignited intense public discussion and renewed scrutiny of the aesthetics industry. For many viewers, Jordan James Parke was impossible to forget. He wasn't just another reality TV personality who faded into obscurity after a single appearance. He made an impression that lingered. He rose to prominence after appearing on the hit reality television series Botched, a show known for documenting extreme cosmetic transformations and corrective procedures gone wrong. By the time he appeared on screen, Jordan had already undergone dozens of treatments and surgeries. He openly admitted to spending more than $150,000 altering his appearance, a staggering amount that shocked audiences and sparked endless headlines. His cosmetic journey began at just 19 years old. What started as lip fillers gradually evolved into a full-scale physical transformation. Rhinoplasty reshaped his nose, chin implants redefined his profile, jaw contouring sharpened his angles, cheek fillers sculpted his face, Botox smoothed his skin, neck liposuction refined his silhouette, laser treatments, skin tightening, repeated filler sessions. Year after year, the changes continued. His lips, in particular, became his defining feature. Dramatically enhanced and impossible to ignore, they earned him the nickname Lip King, a title he embraced unapologetically. He didn't shy away from the label. He owned it. He leaned into it. He turned it into a brand. Jordan understood the power of spectacle. In interviews, he often dismissed critics with a confident shrug, saying that attention, even negative attention, meant visibility. And in today's digital world, visibility is everything. Visibility leads to followers. Followers lead to influence. Influence opens doors to partnerships, promotions, and profit. Jordan was acutely aware of this ecosystem, and he navigated it strategically. On social media, he documented his procedures, his recovery periods, his before and after transformations. Some followers admired his transparency. They saw him as fearless and authentic. Others viewed his content as alarming, a symbol of how far beauty culture had gone. He was praised and mocked in equal measure. Memes circulated, comment sections filled with polarized opinions, but Jordan remained consistent, bold, flamboyant, and unwavering in his belief that his body was his canvas. And yet he insisted that his choices were personal. He often spoke about growing up feeling different, fascinated by glamour, celebrity culture, and high fashion. He admired dramatic aesthetics and lifelike personalities. For him, cosmetic procedures were not about correcting flaws, but about elevating himself into something extraordinary. He didn't want to blend in. He didn't want to look conventional. He wanted to be unforgettable. When he appeared on Botched, audiences glimpsed a more vulnerable side. The surgeons expressed concerns about the sheer number of procedures he had already undergone and the potential risks of continuing down that path. They raised questions about long-term health complications and whether he might be chasing an unattainable ideal. Jordan listened, but he did not retreat. He insisted he was not addicted, not insecure, not spiraling. He described his evolution as intentional and artistic. Over time, Jordan transitioned from being solely a patient to becoming involved in the aesthetics business himself. He began promoting cosmetic services and associating with clinics offering non-surgical procedures. That shift changed his public identity. He was no longer just someone undergoing procedures, he became someone facilitating them. In 2024, that involvement brought serious legal trouble. Jordan was arrested on suspicion of manslaughter following the death of a 33-year-old woman who had undergone a non-surgical Brazilian butt lift at a clinic he was connected to. The case intensified scrutiny on the booming market of non-surgical cosmetic enhancements. These procedures, often marketed as quick and minimally invasive, can carry significant risks if performed improperly or without adequate medical oversight. Jordan was never formally charged in that case, and he maintained his innocence. He was released on bail and was due to answer bail in March 2026. The investigation was ongoing at the time of his death. Now, the parallel is impossible to ignore. A man once under investigation in connection with a cosmetic-related death has himself died under circumstances that may also involve a cosmetic procedure. The tragic symmetry has fueled intense debate online. Some call it a cruel coincidence, others describe it as a chilling and deeply ironic twist of fate. Social media has been flooded with reactions. Supporters have expressed heartbreak, emphasizing that beyond the headlines and the controversy, Jordan was a son, a brother, a friend. His sister, Charnel, shared a deeply emotional tribute, describing the family as numb, shocked, and heartbroken. She remembered him as beautiful, funny, and full of life. She urged the public to remember the real person behind the dramatic image. Critics, however, have reignited discussions about the normalization of extreme cosmetic alteration. They argue that influencer culture can glamorize risky procedures and create unrealistic beauty standards. Others counter that personal autonomy should not be policed, that adults have the right to alter their appearance without being judged. Jordan's life existed right at the intersection of those arguments. The global cosmetic industry has exploded over the last decade. Treatments once considered rare are now commonplace. Fillers and injectables are often framed as routine self-care. Social media filters blur the line between digital enhancement and physical modification. The pressure to appear flawless in photos and videos has never been greater. Jordan thrived in that environment. He understood branding and spectacle better than many, but fame tied so closely to physical transformation comes with relentless scrutiny. Each new procedure invited commentary. Each new photo sparked debate. He lived under a magnifying glass, constantly observed, constantly analyzed. Yet, those who knew him personally describe someone more nuanced. Friends have said he was warm, charismatic, and unexpectedly kind. They describe a man who could make people laugh effortlessly, who had big dreams and a big personality to match, publicly flamboyant, privately sensitive. His sudden death has forced many to reconsider their perceptions. Was he reckless, or was he simply responding to a culture that rewards exaggeration? Was he chasing perfection or expressing creativity? Was he empowered or pressured? Investigators are now focused on answering the most urgent question: what exactly happened inside that apartment in Canary Wharf? Was the procedure being performed legally? Were licensed professionals involved? Was there negligence? Or was it a tragic medical complication that no one could have predicted? Medical professionals have already begun reiterating a sobering reality. No cosmetic procedure is entirely risk-free. Even non-surgical treatments can result in severe complications if fillers enter blood vessels, if sterile protocols are not followed, or if emergency equipment is not immediately available. Sedation carries its own dangers. Repeated procedures can weaken tissues and complicate recovery. Jordan often described his transformations as refining himself, like updating a wardrobe or reinventing a style. But the human body has limits. Over time, repeated interventions can increase vulnerability to complications. At 34, Jordan still had years ahead of him. He had built a recognizable persona and had ambitions within the aesthetics world. Reports suggest he had plans to expand his business ventures. Those plans are now frozen in time. His story reflects a broader cultural moment. Younger generations have grown up in a world of constant visual comparison. Every scroll through social media presents curated, filtered, enhanced versions of reality. The desire to match those images can be powerful. For some, cosmetic procedures feel like empowerment. For others, they become part of a cycle that's hard to step away from. Jordan publicly framed his journey as confidence-driven, but confidence built primarily on appearance can be fragile in an environment that constantly demands more. As investigations continue, there are increasing calls for stricter oversight within the cosmetic industry. Licensing standards differ widely. Some procedures are performed in settings that lack full medical infrastructure. Advocates argue that stronger regulation could prevent future tragedies. But beyond policy and debate, there is grief. A family mourning a son and brother, friends grappling with shock, supporters revisiting memories. Regardless of public opinion, death at 34 is devastating. Jordan James Parke lived loudly. He refused to be subtle. He embraced transformation as identity. His passing is just as dramatic and complex as the life he led. It forces difficult conversations about beauty standards, risk, fame, and the cost of constantly reinventing oneself. Was he ahead of his time? A symbol of excess? A reflection of society's evolving relationship with beauty? Perhaps he was all of those things at once. For now, the world waits for official answers. The post-mortem findings will bring medical clarity. Legal developments may follow depending on what investigators conclude. Until then, speculation continues. What remains undeniable is that Jordan James Parke left an imprint. He sparked conversation. He challenged norms. He demanded attention, and he got it. But no one expected the final headline to arrive so soon. At 34 years old, a life defined by transformation has ended in tragedy, and whether remembered as the Lip King, a reality television personality, a controversial entrepreneur, or simply Jordan, his story will now stand as part of a much larger conversation about the risks and realities of the cosmetic world he helped bring into the spotlight. Make sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more celebrity updates just like this.